I'm talking specifically in this video about Caladium bicolor. Caladium bicolor has well over 1,000 different varieties of color forms and patterns and shapes and lots of variation. The majority of the ones I have here in my garden are just sold as assorted. I just receive them as assorted plants, so they don't have names. I do have a couple of specific ones I will show you in a moment. But for starters, Caladium bicolor, hardy zones 9 through 11, part 2 full shade, a consistently evenly moist soil that's organically rich and well drained. They are considered toxic to dogs, cats, horses, majority of animals, and people probably should stay away from them, and they are also known to sometimes be a skin irritant. Can cause some itching and burning for some people. I've never had issues with that, but it's something to be aware of and to be careful about. The Caladium bicolor is a heat-loving plant, so them being hardy only zones 9 and up, that doesn't mean you can't grow them as an annual. They're very often grown as annuals, and they don't have to be kept as an annual. You can lift them from the ground and store them during the winter time, which I'll talk about in just a moment. I want to start off talking about planting and then get to kind of move through the seasons, so spring, summer, fall, winter. Starting out, if you buy your caladiums in a bag, oftentimes they'll come in a bag, just sort of a bunch of roots, tubers, packed in a peat moss or soil sort of substance. That's how I buy the bulk of my caladiums. They just come in a big bag full of roots, tubers, and I plop them in the ground just about 2 inches deep. You can go down to 4 to 6 inches. It just kind of depends on where you live, how much precipitation you have. The spring's really wet here and somewhat unpredictable. So if temperatures are potentially going to maybe drop and you're going to have a cool snap and you have a lot of precipitation, then the deeper you plant that tuber, the higher the risk of that tuber rotting if the temperatures get cold. And that's why I like to plant mine kind of shallow. The other reason that I plant them somewhat shallow is because sometimes it can be a little bit difficult when you buy them as these teeny tiny little bitty tubers to tell which end goes up and which end goes down. Typically the flat end goes down, that's where the roots are going to come out, and the pointy end comes up. That's what you want pointing up. When I'm unsure, I plant them really very, very, very shallow, and I plant them on their side. By doing this, then what will happen is the growth will go ahead and pop up whatever end it's supposed to, and then I can just turn it, poke it down a little bit deeper, and problem solved. Then I don't have to worry about any type of damage or anything like that if I've planted it upside down. It's not even damage, it's not going to grow. I wait to plant mine out in the garden when I'm sure that there's not going to be any more frost and temperatures are going to be nice and warm. That's how they're going to get going. If temperatures are really cool, say below 70, 75, they're just going to kind of chill out. And that's what I meant earlier about if you have a lot of precipitation, and where I live, May is typically pretty warm, but sometimes there's a couple days that are sort of cool, and then that can be a problem if I plant them too deep and there's a lot of precipitation. So wait till it's nice and warm out and they'll take off a lot faster. They can also be started indoors 4 to 8 weeks before it's time to plant them outside. Just throw them into a pot with an all-purpose potting mix. Don't plant them too terribly deep. Give them a light watering, put them someplace warm that gets a lot of bright light, and then get them going that way. Let's say you did start your caladiums inside, or maybe you purchased them pre-potted, kind of like these two right here. Then planting them is not complicated. It's pretty simple, just like with other caladiums. Here I have a caladium that is called Frog in a Blender. Pretty gross name. Has really cool foliage though. I really like the foliage on it. It does remind me of Colocasia mojito, something like that, but even more dramatic and bold. I really enjoy the foliage on this caladium. Then over here is Colocasia, Caladium bicolor Moonlight, which has just white foliage with some subtle veining in it. These are the only two I have that are named, so the others are just assorted caladiums. I typically plant my caladiums up mostly with impatiens. I think they go really well together every year except for this year. In my front yard I do a really big drift of impatiens and I plant the caladiums directly behind them, and they kind of come up just a bit above those flowers. It looks absolutely beautiful. It adds a nice contrast, a different shape and texture to everything. There's something just fun and lush about it. It's really pretty. I'm working with a smaller pot here, so I don't think I'll use an impatient in this. In fact, I'm probably going to keep this mostly as something where I can bring it inside and still have some plants in it during the winter months, which I'll talk about that part when I get to the winter months. Main thing to remember when potting up a caladium is just don't plant them too deep. If it's already something you started, just maintain the same soil line. And in here I'm using an all-purpose potting mix, nothing special. I did add a little bit of slow release to it just to kind of pump it up a little bit, and some Espoma Biotone starter to help get things going. But you can see I have the top of this just a bit below the surface of the pot, that when I water, soil doesn't go all over the place. But I'm I'm not going to put the soil up any higher than where it's already planted. I'm just kind of leave that as it is. Fill in around just like you would anything else. It's really very simple. The main thing is just planting depth and when you plant them. You may have noticed when I planted this in here, I didn't loosen the roots too terribly much. I just lightly touched them with my fingers. They're a little bit sensitive to their roots being overworked, so there's no need to do that unless it's seriously root bound. Unless there's a lot of swirling around the base, it's just not necessary. And this isn't really a planter video, but I did pot this up with a Justicia. Here's the tag. The variety is called Fruit Cocktail. This variety stays smaller, only gets 1 to 2 feet high, and it can go full sun to partial sun, and I think it actually should pair fairly well with this Caladium. It's a very subtle Justicia. The flowers are pale. There's not a lot to them. It's simple, and I kind of want that. I don't want this to be a dramatic planter. Oh, and I did pull a Creeping Jenny out of my garden, threw it in there. So it's gonna be a little wilty for a while, but it'll take root and take off and flow over the front of that pot very nicely. Creeping Jennies also can go with shade or sun, though they do better, I think, with a little bit more sun from my experience. I'm going to keep this in a location where it's going to get several hours of morning light, about 4 to 5 hours, and it's going to be dappled throughout the rest of the day. In the heat of the summer, that could be a bit much, like when temperatures are really into the 90s, like upper 90s, I may have to scoot it into a little bit more shade, but I think it'll be okay. I don't normally have issues with the Caladiums in the sun as long as it's a darker leaf. A very light leaf, the lighter the color, typically the less sun they can take. So like this Moonshine variety over here, not going to do as well with a lot of sun. It's going to scorch very, very easily. And then over here I have a planter I put together I don't know, several weeks ago that I threw some Caladiums in that are white with green veining, and they've been doing fairly well with the amount of sun they've been getting. They're getting a lot of sun. I am getting much more of a compact stout growth to them though. If they were in a spot where the light's more transitional, where it goes from morning sun to dappled light throughout the rest of the day, then they're going to come up taller and see more of the foliage. And it's their preference for morning sun. I think that makes me like them so much with the way they appreciate morning sun. Filtered light throughout the rest of the day, that's one of the reasons they pair up so well with Impatiens. Just very similar preferences as far as lighting is concerned. As far as watering is concerned, like I mentioned, these plants prefer a consistently moist, organically rich, well-drained soil. They don't like to dry out for too terribly long. I don't often have issues with them wilting from drying out, but the more hot it is, the more airflow, the more sunlight, the more likely that is to happen. So a good heavy watering in the morning really just does the trick for them. That's pretty much all they need. And I should mention I'm referring to the active growing season, when temperatures are nice and warm outside and they're in active growth. That's when they like to be watered consistently. It's another nice thing about planting them with Impatiens. Impatiens are a really good indicator plant. They wilt at the first sign of them needing water very dramatically. They're very dramatic plants, but then you know, okay, this area, the soil's getting a little bit dry. That's technically stress. Wilting is stress, so it's best to water before that happens, but sometimes it'll happen a few times and give you an indicator of how much time you have in between waterings. The same goes for the Caladium though. You don't have to have an indicator plant. They will wilt. They will start to fall down and get a little bit droopy when they get thirsty. So again, if that happens a few times, not the end of the world. It'll help give kind of a ballpark idea of how often they need to be watered. Always tricky talking about watering with plants because there's so many variations when it comes to climates, altitude, latitude. It's just lots of variables there. Just don't let them dry out for too long. If the top inch or so of soil becomes dry, not the end of the world. But if they're containerized, like this one over here, if that full thing were to dry out, that would be problematic. I wouldn't let that happen. Fertilizing. Caladiums are somewhat heavy feeders, but if you over-fertilize, it can scorch the roots and the foliage. I typically just use an all-purpose liquid fertilizer. I make sure that when I plant them, there's a continuous release within the soil, something that has fairly even numbers. As I mentioned, I do like to amend the soil with things that help make it more organically rich, like the Espoma Biotone. Plant tone works well. Anything that's going to encourage lots of good beneficial bacterial and fungal type activity in the root zone, good stuff. And then as far as liquid fertilizers are concerned, I use those about every 3 weeks to just once a month during the active growing season. Sometimes if it is crazy hot outside and there's not going to be a break in that heat, then I'll dilute the strength on the package, whatever it's recommended, to about 50% just to help prevent scorching, because sometimes, like I mentioned, that can be an issue. It's not one that I've dealt with often, but I've heard of other people having problems with that before. I really like seaweed fertilizers. The Caladiums seem to appreciate it as well. Using an Epsom salt can help with sun scorch if that's a problem. You can do just a few tablespoons of Epsom salt into a couple gallons of water and then dilute that, water it into the plant. That can help protect the plant from sunburn a little bit, although it's ideal to just maybe relocate the plant if that's going to be a problem. I may have already mentioned it. I don't know. I'm mentioning it again because it's important. No fertilizing during the winter months, really even the fall. I stopped watering mine probably the first week of September so that they have some time to kind of harden off. The growth can calm down a little bit, and that helps prepare them for being dug or moved inside. Now, late summer into fall. Like I mentioned, this is when I cut back on fertilizing. And by the way, this is for people who don't live zones 9 and up. This is for people who have to dig them, lift them, bring them inside. If you live someplace where you can grow this as a perennial, then just let it do its thing. Caladiums die back on their own no matter what. The Caladium bicolor takes a dormant rest. So it'll do its thing, and when you start to notice the leaves are starting to fall, go ahead and just cut those off. And I'll be talking about that too when it comes to bringing them inside. So let them harden off, basically just let them start to chill. Their growth will slow down, especially as temperatures cool a little bit. And then when it looks like temperatures are going to be dropping below, I'd say 55 to 50 outdoors, well before frost approaches, that's the time to go ahead and lift those tubers up out of the ground. Get as much soil off of them as you can, trim the roots back, trim the foliage back, take them inside, set them someplace to dry for a few days, and then you can put them in a paper bag, in a cardboard box, something like that, and pack them up with like some perlite. Some people use peat moss. If you really want to be extra cautious, you can also sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on them or sulfur powder, but that is toxic, so be careful. That'll help prevent funguses and molds and things from growing on those tubers while they're resting. When it comes to storing a lot of tubers and bulbs, the general rule is just to keep them cool and dry and dark. So people will put them in a basement, something like that. If they're going to be stored someplace like in a garage, if the temperatures are too cool, then those tubers will have a little bit of dieback on them, and then the plants you get next year will be kind of small. So that's why it's best to make sure it stays above 60 where they're being stored. But if it's too warm, then they're going to want to grow after they've rested for even just a few weeks. So, like I said, cooler's better, keep them dark. And that's why I potted this one up with this Justicia. This Justicia, easy house plant. They like things on the drier side during the winter months when temperatures are cooler. I'll probably still lift the caladium bulbs out of there. This plant is going to need watering fairly often compared to the caladium, which isn't going to need it at all. So I'll just pull that caladium out and do what I just talked about, store it someplace cool and dry. Oh, for people out there who have tried to grow a caladium as a house plant and they get concerned, I get questions about this during the wintertime, whether caladium's not doing well. It's usually because it needs to go ahead and rest. I have had them grow for me during the winter when temperatures were too warm, when they were underplanted around something that I moved into my grow space, but it's really long, it's spindly, it's not great. It's better to go ahead and lift that, cut it back, and let them chill out for a while. I should also mention they do flower. You can grow them from seed if you let these flower heads, once they've been pollinated, fertilized, let those dry off, cut them, pull the seeds out, plant those up. That is doable. I think it's much easier personally to just divide them up. You can just lift the plant up and use a clean knife, scissors, something like that, cut them apart and divide it and plant them back out. But the flowers are pretty unique, kind of cool looking, right? They're typically hidden by the foliage though. I'm using my hand here to pull that back so you can see what they look like, but they just kind of hide down in there. Okay, so now let's talk about problems with the caladiums. When it comes to foliage discoloration, typically the most common thing is going to be bleaching or photooxidation from them getting too much light. That presents itself as a discoloration, a yellow, like bright yellow spotting that fades into a white, and that's what it sounds like. It's bleaching. If that's happening, it means you should probably move the plant someplace that doesn't get as much intense sunlight. Plant something above it that's going to provide some shade, or put a structure near it that's going to provide some shade. That could be helpful. I think it's really easier to just move the plant though. Common pests, slugs, snails, aphids, a lot of your outdoorsy type bugs. The slugs and snails have been my main issue because they go places that are more shady, that gets a lot of moisture, places that I water often. The slugs and snails where I live have been very bad this year. You can see there's some small little holes in here from those. Just kind of the way things go. I am treating with a pellet, bone-eyed slug and snail bait. Works really well. There are lots of home remedies for getting rid of snails, so try out whatever works for you. It's also helpful to remember when watering these, it's a little bit easier to water them from below. So to make sure the water isn't splashing on the foliage too much, because if that water settles there and then they get some sun on them, it can leave spots on the foliage. Nobody likes that. And this is another reason that I really do like drip irrigation on my caladiums, because they get watered from below. There's not a ton of moisture settling on the foliage or on the stems down below, which does help discourage the slug and snail activity somewhat. Having an abundance of things like ladybugs around, lacewings and things like that can help a lot with pests. If that's not helping, then there's always neem oils and insecticidal soaps, systemics, and like I said, just kind of got to use what works for you. Okay, and if you're growing your caladium indoors as a houseplant during its actual active growing season, then put it someplace with lots and lots of bright light. A warmer location is better. Bright light inside is basically shade outside, and the windows can magnify things and whatnot, so keep an eye, move them if necessary, but for the most part, plenty of sunlight. Rotate the pot, I'd say bi-weekly, so that you get nice even growth, and water them when the top 1 to 2 inches of soil is dry. Fertilizing the same inside as I mentioned outside. Monthly is just fine. Using a continuous release down into the soil works really well also. If you're growing them inside and you notice that you're watering the plant and the foliage is staying wilty or yellowing and dying back, that means it's getting too much water, so cut back on the watering a little bit. And do not forget to cut back on watering and fertilizing as the lighting in the day changes. When the season progresses, you start moving into fall and winter, then you can go ahead, cut back on that, and start to let the plant rest. You don't have to dig them and store the tubers. You can just take whatever pot they're in, let that dry out, cut the foliage off, and again, store them just like you would the tubers. Take that pot, put it someplace where it's not going to be getting watered, someplace that's not going to be too cold, nice and dark and dry. After they've rested for several weeks, I would say a minimum of 8 to 10 weeks, you can pull them back out, put them someplace nice and warm with plenty of light, give them just a little drink of water, not too much. Wait till you start to see some growth going on, and then resume watering at a normal schedule. And I generally wait on fertilizing when they start back for the next season until they've put up, I'd say, at least probably 5 inches of growth or 3 to 4 leaves. I will, however, use a soil amendment, like I'd mentioned, the Biotone starter, a liquid starter, something like that to help kick things off, but I still wait until I see some signs of growth. Aren't caladiums just fantastic? I love them. They're a pretty simple plant to grow. If it sounded complicated, that's just because I was being thorough. They're really not hard to grow at all. Pretty simple. Indoors is always going to be more challenging, but when grown outdoors, they're fantastic. They're beautiful. They're nice to have in the shade, especially the ones that have the more of a white foliage to them, because they're luminous at nighttime. They reflect a lot of light, which is something I absolutely love with my plants. I love my garden at nighttime, so having the variations of color, the stripes and the veining and all those fun things, they make them stand out. They add some contrast. They're just beautiful. Y'all have some favorite varieties, cultivars of caladiums? Let me know. Comment down below. Tips, tricks, corrections, all the above. Get it down there in the comment section. Get a conversation going.